Reena, as an actress, how difficult is it to switch from one film to another in such short span? You have so many films lined up. It's actually like from one set to another, from that to another.
Honestly, it is nerve-wracking, okay, at times, because I realized that I am doing these back-to-back different films, but what happens is sometimes when your prep time is what you have to let go of, you know, it kind of really makes me nervous at times because I haven't like really prepped for a particular role. I haven't done enough readings that I would want to do, you know. And because of the pandemic also, everything, all the schedules were so like warped and like, you know, we didn't have control over things. So prep time is what first gets chopped and that's very important for actors. So of course when I'm jumping, like when I was shooting for Bachchan Pandey, there are some films that require more prep, there are some films that you feel like you can do without that much prep. A film like Mimi required a lot of prep and I had to give it that. Bachchan Pandey was, the character was more urban, it didn't need me to have so much prep, there was no dialect and all. Bhedia again was very different world. Adipurush is a very different world and I literally have like jumped from one to the other to the other. So yeah, sometimes you have to like get yourself back like a day before, 2 days before. What I do is I kind of start reading the script all over again, you know, because at least to get into the world of that film, like I feel like from Bhedia to Adipurush to back to Bhedia to then Adipurush, it's like sometimes you're like, I hope I'm not doing what I'm doing in that film right now, you know, subconsciously. So you have to keep yourself in check. It is a little nerve-wracking, but that thrill is kind of keeps you on your toes, you know, a little bit.
And of all the characters you have played, what is the biggest takeaway if you have to name one character and the biggest takeaway from that?
Takeaway in the sense?
Like you know, one characteristics that you felt that I wish I had this, or one characteristic that you imbibed in yourself after playing that. Is there any character?
I don't think we as actors realize, but we end up giving every character a lot and subconsciously taking something from the character as well. I think takeaway has been more as an actor rather than taking from the character. I think like in case of Mimi, I realized while I was shooting and prepping and you know, there was so much that went into that film, so much of me that went into that film that I kind of in moments realized that I did realize that prep is very important. And the fact that I don't want to limit my process. You know, sometimes we as actors think that, okay, you know, this is how I usually approach a scene and this is how I perform. Like, I had this thing in my mind that, you know, I can't go back to my emotional memory, think about something sad that has happened in my life and cry here. You know, that doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me. I used to hear so many people say, you know, she broke down in the scene and then after cut also she kept crying. And it never used to happen with me. Like I would like start laughing or I would like be back to normal suddenly, ki, haan, take dikhao and all. So for me, it was like, that's not how I function. I had in my head. In Mimi, there was one portion, you know, when I tear the posters and I put powder on my face, that whole bit, that breakdown was like a peak breakdown of hers. And I kind of tried something, you know, I kind of tried going back to my emotional memory and sort of psyching myself, seeing some images, seeing some things that had happened in my life, which made me emotional. And I was like, okay, let me try this. And I did that and I was feeling like a lump in my throat. I was feeling emotional. But then they called me for this shot. And while I was walking from the base to the set, suddenly it all vanished and I was like, oh shit, this is not working. You know, I'm not feeling it only. Then I was like, okay, no, you know, let's go back to what I do. Let me think about Mimi, let me think how she's thinking and I'll perform. And when I started performing, I screamed in a bit. And then I don't know what happened. I started crying and they said cut and I kept crying. I just couldn't stop. And that happened for the first time and I was shocked. Like I was crying and I was shocked, like how am I crying? You know, so I think that psyching myself, doing something maybe struck some chord inside, you know, which everything came out like while I was performing. So I think I realized that, you know, we end up limiting our process and saying this doesn't work for me. And I feel like at times we should just flow and let go, try something different. Even if it doesn't work, it's okay. The day it does work, it's going to create something magical.
True, yeah, and I think that happened with maybe.
Yeah, so after that I realized that, अच्छा ये भी हो सकता है, you know, मेरे साथ I can
Yeah.
do this.